Hello everyone, welcome my YouTube channel. Kremlin denies using Iranian drones in attack on Ukraine. Ukrainian leaders have accused Russia of using Iranian Shahed 136 kamikaze drones, which explode on impact, in attacks on Kyiv. The Kremlin on Tuesday denied its forces had used Iranian drones to attack Ukraine. Ukrainian leaders have accused Russia of using Iranian Shahed 136 kamikaze drones, which explode on impact, in attacks on Kyiv. Several images posted on social media showed Delta-wing drones similar to the Iranian model being used in an attack on the Ukrainian capital on Monday. Asked if Russia had used Iranian drones in its campaign in Ukraine, spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the Kremlin did not have any information about their use. Russian equipment with Russian nomenclature is used, he said. All further questions should be directed to the Defense Ministry. The ministry did not immediately reply to a request for comment. Iran denies supplying drones. Iran denies supplying drones to Russia, and wreckage from at least one drone showed the Russian name, Geranium-2. The U.S. State Department said its assessment was that Iranian drones had been used in Monday morning's rush-hour attack on Kyiv. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre accused Tehran of lying when it said Russia was not using Iranian drones in Ukraine. Leaders from across Europe have said the use of Iranian drones would mark a serious escalation in the conflict and should trigger new sanctions on Iran. Ukraine under fire by occupiers, says President. Latest Russian strikes destroyed residential building in Mykolaiv, says Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Tuesday his country is under attack by Russian forces as drone and missile strikes on the country's capital Kyiv and other cities entered their second week. Ukraine is under fire by the occupiers. They continue to do what they do best, terrorize and kill civilians, Zelensky said on his Telegram account. Zelensky also confirmed that Russian strikes destroyed a residential building in the city of Mykolaiv. There was also a strike at the flower market and the Chestnut Park. I wonder what the Russian terrorists were fighting against at these absolutely peaceful facilities, he said. The strikes only reiterate Russia's destructive and murderous essence, for which it will certainly be held to account, he added. Ukrainian Presidential Office head Andriy Yermak said the attacks will not break the nation's will. Terrorists from the Russian Federation continue their naive attempts to break us and intimidate us. They think that they will achieve the goal of freezing Ukrainians, leaving us without light and heat. Naive, because losers and cowards cannot break a nation of strong people, he said. Local authorities continued to report airstrikes in Ukraine's capital Kyiv and other regions in the country on Tuesday morning. Besides Kyiv, missile and drone strikes were reported in the Zaporizhia, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, Mykolaiv, Zhytomyr, and Sumy regions of Ukraine. Russian missiles continue hitting Ukraine's power, water facilities. Russia's kamikaze drones have targeted Ukrainian energy centers for over a week. Russian military forces continued airstrikes against Ukraine on Tuesday, bombing the country's energy and infrastructure facilities as part of aggressive efforts to weaken Ukraine as winter looms. Zhytomyr, a Ukrainian city with military bases, had no working electricity or water after a double missile strike hit an energy facility. According to Mayor Serhiy Sukhomlin, local hospitals were forced to operate on backup power. An energy facility in Kyiv was also hit by Russian drones, along with another facility in the south-central city of Dnipro. Russia's aggressive use of so-called kamikaze drones have been used to target Ukraine's vital energy infrastructure and urban centers. In the past week, more than 100 suicide drones have slammed into Ukraine's power plants, sewage treatment plant and other targets, according to Ukraine's foreign ministry. The Shahed 136 drones, which are manufactured in Iran, are called kamikaze drones, or suicide drones, because they crash into buildings and explode. Suicide drones recently caused a fire at an infrastructure facility in the southern Zaporizhia region, according to the area's governor. The use of Shahed 136 drones ramped up after Vladimir Putin's annexation of the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhia regions in September, which escalated the Russo-Ukrainian war. Russia fighter crashes into apartments in city near Ukraine, killing 13 YEYSK, Russia, October 17, Reuters. A Russian fighter plane crashed into a residential building in the southern city of Yeysk shortly after takeoff on Monday, engulfing apartments in a fireball and killing at least 13 people, Interfax news agency reported. A further 19 people suffered injuries, agencies quoted local officials as saying. Yeysk is separated from occupied Russian territory in southern Ukraine by a narrow stretch of the Sea of Azov. Military news channel Zvezda published video appearing to show explosions aboard the Sukhoi Su-34 supersonic medium-range fighter bomber as it plunged towards the apartments. Russian agencies said the pilots had ejected. Footage from the site showed large parts of the 9-story building on fire after the crash. Local authorities later said the blaze had been put out. Krasnodar Regional Governor Veniamin Kondratyev denied local reports the plane had been loaded with ammunition. If that had been the case, then only half the building would be here, RIA cited him as telling reporters. Around 250 people were evacuated, including 40 children, authorities said. RIA said the crash took place during a training flight from a military airfield. It quoted the defense ministry as saying the pilots reported an engine had caught fire on takeoff, and the plane's fuel had then ignited when it struck the building. Russia's State Investigative Committee, which deals with serious crimes, said it had opened a criminal case and sent investigators to the scene. The Kremlin said President Vladimir Putin had ordered all necessary help to be provided to victims. He also ordered the health minister to fly to the region. The incident comes nearly 8 months after Russia sent its troops into Ukraine. Live updates, Russia-Ukraine war. Moscow. The Kremlin is refusing to confirm that the Russian military is using Iranian drones in its attacks on Ukraine. Asked Tuesday whether Russia is using them to strike Ukrainian targets, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov responded, "We don't have such information." Speaking in a conference call with reporters, he emphasized that Russian equipment with Russian names is being used. The Iranian Shahed drones reportedly have been rebranded Geran 2 by Russia and used extensively to carry out strikes across Ukraine. They are often called suicide drones because they slam into targets and explode. Analysts say Moscow's plan is to terrorize Ukraine's civilian population with the drones.